Bharat Tech reach today extends far beyond metros, touching lives of millions across Tier 2, Tier 3, and rural India. Digital public infrastructure, affordable connectivity, and mobile-first innovation have enabled technology to become a powerful equalizer, driving financial inclusion, access to education, healthcare delivery, and entrepreneurship at scale. To take it another step further, we are about to cover the topic of bridging Silicon Valley and Bharat through deep tech. And for this, we have with us our host, Ms. Anita Manwani, President, Chair of the Board of Directors, TiE Silicon Valley, and our very special speaker, who is someone who has more than 3 decades of high-impact leadership across the US, across the UK, and India. He drives global sales and business development for cutting-edge data center and professional visualization technologies, powering innovation across industries worldwide at NVIDIA. And he will be sharing his thoughts on the future and the bridging of the Silicon Valley and Bharat through deep tech. He has been a TiE member for more than 30 years. And another special fact about his journey has been that he has done his graduation in Rajasthan. So please welcome Senior Vice President, NVIDIA, Mr. Shanker Trivedi. I would like to request our host, Ms. Anita, to kindly present this memento of the Rajasthan DigiFest and the 10 TiE Global Summit to our speaker, Mr. Shanker Trivedi. Everybody put your hands together for the final session of day 2. I would also like to request the visitors who are sitting in the back rows of their particular arenas to kindly take the front row seats of those arenas. Thank you.
It's always very difficult to be the last session of the day, but it's fantastic to be the last years.
28 is the correct number, apparently.
Okay,
Right?
so 28 years, and the journey started in the UK.
Exactly. I mean, AJ, he was here at the conference and announced the new initiative to create 100 million jobs. And Nitin Mehta, who's also here, came to see us in the UK. And of course, because AJ and Nitin were in Silicon Valley, basically, they talked to my colleagues at Sun Microsystems in Silicon Valley, and they gave them my name. I think jokingly they said, "Oh, go and meet the King of England," because I was the country managing director for UK, and so Nitin and AJ showed up, and thanks to the work that my wife was doing at the time, Anu my wife was the professor of entrepreneurship. And she had done this seminal study on South Asian entrepreneurs in the UK. So as a result of that, we were very quickly able to pull together the biggest, best, most successful entrepreneurs in Greater London. And that was the way that we started the TiE London chapter.
Thank you for sharing how well you are tied to TiE. Let's talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, because you have been a startup.
Yes, for my sins, after I finished at IIM Calcutta, my first job was at the time the most highest paid job in business school. I won't tell you the amount because it's so small, it's almost embarrassing. But it was the highest paid salary that you got at the time. The year is 1981. And I started doing this work and I realized, actually, I need to start a company. And so luckily, the people I did my summer internship with were Hindustan Computers people. And they convinced me to come and join them. And collectively, we started a computer company. And I think I'm the first entrepreneur to go from Mumbai to Hyderabad and incorporate a company in Hyderabad. It's called Microsense Computers. It still exists. And my signature's in the incorporation papers.
That's a phenomenal factoid you shared with us today. An entrepreneur who transformed his second avatar, as we would say, would be a corporate executive.
By the way, as far as we're concerned, it was a complete failure. I mean, there was today, look at how it's booming. Any startup, all the young people who are obviously not in the audience right now, but the young people have such a great opportunity to go pitch, get money. We could barely cobble together, like, if I remember right, 1.25 lakh rupees to start our company. It was almost impossible. And today it's so much easier to start a company and dream big and, things like that.
True, but we also say that with failures come a lot of learning. I mean, I've had 4 startups in health tech, 2 of which were abject failures and 2 were reasonably okay. So,
Actually, you learn. I mean,
you learn a lot.
The more mistakes you make, the better.
That's true.
Just don't make the same ones again and again.
So, you went to Sun Microsystems. What got you to NVIDIA, and who was the genie that put that little voice in your head that this would be the company to join?
So two things happened. Firstly, after Sun Microsystems, I was the executive officer and senior vice president of a software company, an enterprise software company, which we turned around. The turnaround was successful. The only problem was the turnaround CEO, when he left, and he's a great friend of mine, the board decided not to make me the CEO. And they made my other friend, whom I'm still great friends with, the CEO. But I thought, I need to get out of this company. At the same time, I was a non-executive director on an accelerator company, and I'll use the term accelerator, not accelerated computing. This was an accelerator company called ClearSpeed Technologies, and I was on the board with them, and we raised 450 million pounds in 2005 to make an accelerator. And what happened was, I'd left Calidus, and I was on the board, and I mentioned on the board meeting, hey, there's this company, NVIDIA, is doing something similar. So they asked me to, on behalf of the company, go and research it. And as a result, I had scheduled a meeting with my contacts at NVIDIA, and in the middle of that, this gentleman says to me, Shanker, and I was asking questions about, what are you guys doing, this, that, next, and they said, Shanker, Jay and Jensen would like you to come and meet with us. So that's how I ended up at NVIDIA. And the day I joined NVIDIA, it's April 2009. The company had gone through a tremendous downturn. There were only 2 of us who actually joined the company after 6 months of hiring freeze. And the only people in my family who thought it's a good idea were my son and my nephew. Nobody else had heard of NVIDIA. Nobody knows anything about NVIDIA. But these 2 boys, because they always invariably are boys, had got a gaming card. So I said, oh, that's a cool company. So I said, okay, I'll join this company, NVIDIA.
So the young always are ahead of us in all this.
Exactly. Always listen to your sons or daughters before you make a career choice.
But what a story, being recruited by the man himself. And then you shared with me the other day that it was many, many years later that Jensen gave you a hug because you made this phenomenal presentation
Yes.
at an investor meeting.
Yeah. So basically, if you look in NVIDIA's nvidia.com/investors, you will find the archive of all of our Investor Day presentations. So what happened was in 2016, he was unhappy with the then GM of this data center business. And so he asked me to do the presentation, which I did in 2016. And it's a good presentation. But then in 2017, and of course, I'd worked with him on the 2016 one, but 2017 one, we really scrubbed it, you know. We put a lot of effort into, you know, what is the opportunity? Why is this an opportunity? And we came up with this $100 billion TAM. That was the opportunity. And I divided it into 8 high-performance computing, hyperscalers, and enterprises. I talked about computer vision and deep learning and all of the things. And basically, and of course, I showed the value proposition because accelerated computing fundamentally saves you money. And of course, Jensen then came up with the more you buy, the more you save. But I'm the person who worked with him initially to do the math around, you know, how you save money by accelerating a workload. And so when I finished the presentation, it's the first and only time he's ever given me a hug. Most of the time, you know, he's always unhappy with his executives. This is legendary. But he actually gave me a hug because he said, that was good. You just nailed it. And then, of course, we, you know, reiterated it in 2018 as well, the same strategy.
So the warmest and the most expensive
He's a
hug
hard,
in the world.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that story. So how much of those, you know, this is an entrepreneurial audience here. We're
Yes.
sitting at the TiE Global Summit meant to foster entrepreneurship. And curious to, you know, for you to share with the audience how much of your entrepreneurial experience, how did that play into your corporate executive success?
Yeah. So, you know, and it's interesting, Alex gave the presentation about how existing companies need to go back to being a startup. And of course, startups need to go and be disciplined. And you know, we have this similar kind of yin-yang or brain one, brain two, or, you know, type of mindset inside of NVIDIA. So we always say, you know, we are the world's biggest startup, right? I mean, now, we didn't know we were going to be the world's biggest company, but we always said we are the world's biggest startup. And that's because we're always in this, you know, sometimes we are focused on rigorous scale out, you know, how do we basically rinse and repeat is one way of saying it. On the other hand, we are always staying alert. What are the new opportunities? What can we, you know, what do we need to do to change? And so we have this constant kind of startup mentality. And the key thing for all the Indian entrepreneurs is that AI is, as Professor Raskar also said so eloquently, it's incredible opportunity. And there are 2 broad categories, as I talked yesterday, you know, India for India opportunity, with the world's biggest consumers, the amount of infrastructure that's going to be put here, the amount of healthcare, the amount of education, the amount of manufacturing, the amount of agriculture, the amount of animal husbandry, every single vertical probably, you know, if not now already, the biggest volume market in the world for every single vertical is in India. And notice I chose my words carefully. The biggest volume, right? I didn't say value, right? So that's one. The second is India for the world. So many companies can today, you know, you can start just like internet was a great equalizer. Internet is a great democratizer. And it created these amazing companies, you know, like Infosys and TCS and so many companies. AI is even bigger democratizer. AI makes everybody intelligent. AI makes every device intelligent. So the opportunities for India, from India for the world, are giant. And I gave two examples, you know, of the type of things that people could do. Yesterday I gave two examples. And the key thing that needs to change in the mindset of the Indian entrepreneur is this product mentality. When you're doing India for India, it can still be a services oriented, you know, human in the loop, high touch, those kind of things can be done with India for India. But when you're an entrepreneur, India for the world, your product has to do the talking for you, right? And that's a different mindset of a product company with the roadmap, with the rigor, the updates. You know, it looks exactly the same on the website is exactly what it does, right? And that's the kind of Silicon Valley mindset of a product company that's required for India for the world. And that's why you'll notice, like, my friend Umesh Sachdev always reminds me, he's the CEO of this company called Unifor. He says, that's why I relocated myself. I started my company in Madras, but in Chennai, and I now basically reincorporated the whole thing in America to become an American company and address India, for, you know, address the world market.
So thank you, as two Americans sitting here.
Yes.
This is all music to my ears, but we are both born in India. And we both love India. So what is that advice you would give to the entrepreneurs sitting in the room, to the grown-ups on how they should be advising and steering their children towards a particular discipline?
Yeah. So this kind of builds also on what Professor Raskar was saying. But the key point is, in the age of the internet, India created our own digital stack. And it's something to be super proud of, you know, with Aadhaar and UPI and now ODBC, Digital Locker, etc. It's created an amazing digital infrastructure stack. And it's available for free for everybody to use, right? And you can be used as a basis. And of course, people can create their own proprietary. Nobody's stopping you, right? Creating an alternative. But at its core, there's a infrastructure for the internet, which has enabled many things. Same thing in the age of AI, there needs to be the infrastructure for AI. That's why I was super excited yesterday to see, you know, Bhashini. Now, and just look how well it did the translation and the transcription. Low latency, accurate, right? Is it the world's bestest? I don't know, but it's the basis for something. And likewise, India needs to invest in foundation model. Both, little bit, you know, I think unlike Professor Raskar, who only talked about the agent and only the agent and the edge, I think edge and center coexist. Notice, you know, all of our phones get an OTA update quite often. In Silicon Valley, we drive our car gets an OTA update every few days, right? It's a fact. The medical instrument, which will be an AI, will be updated. Now, of course, it will run the AI in the instrument. You can't be in an operating theater situation, you know, depending on the cloud, and it has to be local, for sure. But at the same time, there's a central version and an edge version. And both these AIs will need a stack. And of course, as Professor Raskar described, there's, you know, the Nanda for the agents. But the government of India should invest in, encourage, and build an sovereign AI India stack.
Double click on that some more, because not everybody in the audience may understand every aspect of it.
So let me give you another way of explaining it. So without data, there is no AI. And notice, so data goes into an AI factory and produces intelligence. Right? The AI factory is like a data center. It could be in the edge. So the reality is we have huge amount of data in India. Let's call that the raw material. You are not going to export the raw material somewhere and import the intelligence, the finished goods. It makes no sense. If you're going to use the finished goods in India, you should use a India AI factory, you should use an India stack and create your own finished goods. That's what we would do in the physical world.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like colonialism, right?
True.
We send the cotton from whatever and we imported back the cloth. Made no
Right.
sense. Same way, you don't want to export your data and import your intelligence. That is why I'm urging Government of India and all of the states, data as your asset, curate it, make it AI ready, and then use it. And your data is your language, your culture, your literature, your colloquialisms, your legal system, your business practices, all part of your data. And that is what you're going to use to create this intelligence, to deliver the AI services in government, education, healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing, and so on. So that's basically the vision that I'm outlining.
Thank you for sharing that in more simple ways and, definitely contextualizing it for the local environment, economically, culturally, makes a lot of sense. What, in your role as leading partnerships and enterprise partnerships globally for NVIDIA, uh, just zooming in on India, what are you doing, you as a leader in NVIDIA, what are you doing specially for the enterprises in India besides, and also for democratization of the use of AI? Because we just heard, the amount of resource it takes for these simple queries. And imagine if you're actually running large language models and doing your work in infrastructure stack. What is NVIDIA doing to make sure that it is cheaper to use?
So NVIDIA's overall, globally, doesn't matter which country I'm sitting in, our strategy is to be a platform for other platforms. So we want to basically offer our platform as one key element for every other platform, company, platform, business. Government of India is a platform, State of Rajasthan is a platform, right, for providing, and we want to be part of that. And so as part of that strategy, it requires us, it is part of our DNA to partner with everybody. Even if they don't like us, we want to partner with them. Even if they compete with us, we want to partner with them. So that's the context globally. And of course, in India, we basically want to be a tremendous partner, for example, to the NIC, the National Informatics Center. National Informatics Center is like the in-house integrator for the central government to provide digital services. So we want to make the NIC more competent, more able to deliver AI services. So one of the first examples we worked on to help the NIC was to accelerate the processing of the court case backlog. A lot of court cases, a backlog is going on, and NIC did all the work to basically create summary for the plaintiff, summary for the defendant, summary for the judge, everything, so that the whole process of the case can be, I'm not saying we're dispensing the justice. But the way you summarize things can speed up the time required to process the case, as one example. Likewise, we are working with everybody in, Aadhaar and Bhashini, and we actually helped the Government of India have a big stand at NVIDIA's AI Summit in October last year, so that they could showcase all the work that they are doing Likewise, I want to help every single systems integrator, all the global systems integrators, all the, the specialist integrators like LTTS and so on, all the boutique AI integrators, all of those companies, we want to help them be more AI. Likewise, I'm working with all the GCCs and so on. So we want to partner with all of the key, we have a huge startup program in India, and we love the startups. We want to celebrate their work. We want to showcase their work, because we want basically to advocate the platform. And we want to partner with people who want to use the platform to build new businesses, build existing businesses, build new business streams, and so on.
So as you partner with startups, it's great. I'm sure all the startups here are saying, what can I do to be in NVIDIA's radar for partnership?
The most important thing, nvidia.com/inception. Apply for and join our Inception program. We give you every startup. First of all, you have access to all of our platform software. NVIDIA actually,
Yeah.
I know we always thought of as the GPU company and all that, but we have the phenomenal software. And all that software is available to all of our developers, especially our startup developers, and completely openly. And unless you kind of use it for some commercial work and so on, it's available free of charge. All right? And we encourage everyone, we showcase it, we help them, use it, because there's no point a startup doing some work that's already been done. If it's already done, use it, right? And it's, freely licensed and so on. So from time to time, you get cloud credits. You've experienced this. We do DLI.
Yes.
We do hackathons. We do venture accelerators. Just a whole bunch of things around ecosystem enablement for the startup community. So please join Inception. We welcome you. It's not automatic. You need to think about how to apply, okay? And say all the right things and obviously demonstrate that you're doing something that's relevant to the NVIDIA platform. And I'm sure that we'll welcome your startup to the community.
Well, I want to take this opportunity in front of everyone to thank you for your support for TiE, and especially for offering those very, very precious DLI workshops in Silicon Valley. And I know they're the most popular. They also make a very big difference in attracting the young people to kind of upskill them and have them experience directly. So thanks very much for that. But what can we offer the government school children in Rajasthan, in India? Is there some programs that you are working on to kind of to provide more equity in the access to AI and NVIDIA's platform?
I haven't, I'm here on a private visit.
Yes.
I'm not, so I haven't thought about specifically what to do for Rajasthan and this visit. But here's what we do in general. So we have nvidia.com/DLI, where we put all of our content available. In fact, there's curated data, and we encourage people to use it. And if you take the class, and a lot of the classes are free, and some there's a nominal charge, and if you have a question, a problem, somebody will answer it for you, like a really technically competent person. And at every conference, we typically have these DLIs. We have tutors. So, if you go to nvidia.com/DLI, you'll see things featured there. For example, I don't know exactly what DLIs we will be doing as part of the AI summit here in February. But I would not be surprised if there are at least one or more DLIs for people. Okay?
So I'm sure the audience will appreciate, getting more information on that. Let's switch gear to your view into the future. Lots of talk about jobs going away. We just heard not just jobs going away, but we also heard opportunities from Ramesh Raskar about lots of opportunities to develop a lot of agents. So jobs will come, but some jobs will go. Click a little bit more on that.
So here's the important thing. Of course, with every technology revolution, many jobs are lost. But with every technology revolution, new jobs are created. And as far as I know, the world GDP has gone up. So in other words, there must be more jobs and productivity and creation than what was lost in the previous wave. So I, as a technology optimist, believe that to be the truth. Now, can I prove it? For sure I can't, because we are living in the present and we are talking about the future. Nobody really knows, other than an Indian Vedic astrologer, what the future actually is, right? So, but here's the important thing. Firstly, it is absolutely true that every single person will be more intelligent as a result of AI. And I really mean every single person. So what that means, and especially this is most true for the youngest people, but is equally true for people of my age, okay? That we will, all of us, be much, much more better informed, better educated as a result of AI. Think of AI, you know, you have your personal algebra tutor, your personal, medical tutor, your personal, maybe astrologist or something, you know, like everybody will have multiple AI tutors, every single individual. Now what is the benefit of that? It's going to be incredible. Right? Now, of course, some people will not want to take it. You know, in every wave there are Luddites. And say, "मैं तो नहीं करूँगा." ठीक है. Then, you know, we'll have to figure out something for those Luddites. But I think that every doctor will have more information available. When you go to see your primary care, your GP, as a result of the AI, the doctor is more informed. The nurse is more informed. The nurse is more intelligent. Therefore, they can treat you better. Yeah. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. So likewise, every farmer will be more informed, right? They will know better about the soil conditions, the weather condition, the state of the seed, the condition of the market, and so on and so forth, so that they will be able to do their farming better. I am 100% sure of this. Now, will some people lose their jobs? For sure. But I think overall technology will have a net new creation.
So as some people lose their jobs, any ideas on what they can do to upskill themselves for this new world coming?
I mean, obviously they should become more educated about what is AI. Like Professor Rasker said, you know, in join39.org, you can create your own agent. You can learn what is AI. Everyone should start. You know, I kind of find it strange. Of course, notice every time anybody uses a chat GPT or Perplexity or a Claude or whatever, you know, it's generating consumption quite likely of NVIDIA platform in the cloud. But I find it kind of weird that we're all using ChatGPT in India. Why aren't we using Bharat Gen? Why aren't we using Sarvam? We should be using those local models. And I urge people, Bharat Gen and Sarvam are pretty good products already. They're getting better by the day. And you should use that Sarvam to make yourself more familiar with what AI can do for you. And so I urge people to start doing that.
So it's interesting. Earlier this morning, we were talking to Ashish Dhawan and
Ashoka
University. Yeah. And one of the things that he kind of talked about was, to answer this question, was that even more so, while coding will become a lot easier, so everyone doesn't have to be a software engineer, but the skills of critical thinking and multidisciplinary education will be really important in understanding workflows, processes, how you have to define what AI should do, and query AI or input into AI. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and in fact, critical reasoning is a core skill. So, you know, that's that. And in fact, when you interact with like a chat GPT or whoever, notice the way you ask the question changes the way the answer comes out. Observe that. So one of the things we all need to learn is how to employ that critical thinking, that logic into the way we frame a question, the way we look at the answer. Notice, you know, whatever answer, don't just take the answer as given, because the model maybe, you know, it may give you a different answer with a different question. So test it out, and it's critical reasoning, logic is going to be super important, because the language of programming has now changed to your language. In the old days, we would learn a language, you know, whether it was COBOL or BASIC or Pascal or Python or Java. We learned the language, C, we learned the syntax, we learned the, you know, and so we framed it in that language. Now, the language of the computer, the language of AI is your local language. It's Hindi, it's English, or English. And that is the language that is actually doing the programming. In other words, what's the programming? It's logic. What is Programming is just logic, right? So logic is a very critical skill.
So I absolutely agree. Logic is a very critical thing. But you know, you can also make a friend of your AI usage. So if you are just as polite when you're querying, or you talk in a natural way like you might talk to your spouse, probably not that, maybe your friend, you know, AI will start to talk to you in a similar way. It will respond with that same way. It starts to understand how you approach certain things. And so that's, so if your spouse is not talking to you for a day, please get on to whatever your favorite GPT is and start talking. You'll have a friend in a few weeks that you can turn to.
Although I think we have to remember, it is not a human being,
Of course not.
right? Now, the nature of the way we interact with the computer is probably going to change. Think about it, right? When, of course, people who are, 30 years old didn't even know about, they've only ever had an app. But when we started using internet, we had to type in on a green screen and go HTTP and something. And notice over time, the interface became the app on the phone. And notice how, we knew the internet was going to change everything, even in 1995 or 7. But nobody in 1995 or even in 2000 could even imagine a company like Uber or Airbnb, right? And notice the interface was the app. Now, in the world of AI, I'm 100% sure there's going to be companies like Uber. There's going to be human-computer interfaces which are going to be different to the way we currently interact with the computer, okay? Especially when you think about the interaction might well be with the robot, right? And the robot doesn't have to be, with hands and legs. The robot could be just on wheels. The robot could be in your operating room. Those are all robots, right? And the way we interact with these robots and the companies that are built on them will be quite different to today's companies and ways of interacting.
You know, we could go on for hours, but I know that we're probably between fun and the end of the day.
Exactly.
So we'll kind of try to close this quickly. But I would be remiss if I didn't ask you the rapid fire questions I always do. So what's one word that comes to mind when you think of the importance of life?
Hard work.
Okay. A good book you've read recently?
Oh, wow. I mean, I'm a book club member. I'm reading Paul Theroux's Ghost Train to the Eastern Star right now, and I've written my essay for Professor Sri Khande, who runs our book club. So that's the last book
All
that I
right.
read.
And if you were to reinvent yourself and be born again, what would you like to be?
I think I would still want to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs change the world. They really do. And being innovative and entrepreneurial are just something that's great.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Shanker Trivedi, entrepreneur, corporate executive, successful human being, giving human being, and an entrepreneur again. So thank you very much, Shanker.
Thank you,
Really
Anita. It's been
appreciate
great
it.
fun talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, TiE, and thank you, Rajasthan State, for hosting all of us here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing all the AI-related information here in this session. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, such as how AI is about to make everyone intelligent. So we are about to have intelligence democracy, and how India for India versus India for the world are two very different approaches, and how you explained about it. We have launched iStart yesterday. We have seen the video of iStart yesterday. We have launched the Innovation Hub yesterday. at the ceremony of inauguration. Thank you, sir.